Hello. I want to tell you about my weekend life. Weekends are special because they give us time to relax and enjoy simple things. On my weekends, I do many different activities like resting, eating good food, spending time with family, and practicing English. These small moments make me happy and help me learn more every day. Let's take a journey together through my weekend. Part 1, Saturday morning, a lazy start, a happy heart. Saturday mornings have always been my favorite. Ever since I was a child, I have loved the feeling of waking up with no alarm clock ringing loudly in my ears. On weekdays, my phone alarm goes off at 6 a.m. and I must jump out of bed, brush my teeth quickly, and prepare for work. But Saturdays feel different. On Saturdays, everything moves slowly, like a calm river. This morning, I woke up at around 8:30 a.m. The sunlight had already filled my room, and the sound of birds singing made me smile. I didn't rush to get up. Instead, I stretched my arms, turned to the side, and said to myself, "Today is my day." While lying in bed, I picked up my phone and scrolled through a few messages. My best friend had sent a funny meme last night, and I laughed quietly. I have not replied yet, but I will later. After checking social media for a few minutes, I decided it was time to start my day. I put on my slippers and walked slowly to the kitchen. The floor felt cold, but I didn't mind. I filled the kettle with water and boiled it. While waiting, I looked outside the window. The trees were moving gently in the wind, and the sky was a perfect light blue. What should I eat today? I asked myself in English. I have been practicing speaking English at home. It helps me feel more confident. I try to speak out loud about small things, like making breakfast or choosing clothes. This morning, I said, "Let's make tea first." Maybe I'll have some toast with butter. Do we have any eggs left? I opened the fridge and saw 2 eggs, some bread, and a bit of cheese. That was enough. I cracked the eggs into a bowl, added a little salt and pepper, and scrambled them slowly. I toasted 2 slices of bread and put the cheese on top. It melted nicely. As I ate, I sat near the window and watched the world outside. People were starting their day. I saw a neighbor walking her dog. A boy on a bicycle rode past quickly. I imagined their stories. Maybe she is going to the park. Maybe he is meeting his friends. I have always loved watching people and imagining their lives. It helps me improve my English thinking, too. I have learned many new words this way. After breakfast, I washed the dishes slowly. I wasn't in a hurry. I was enjoying the silence. I listened to a simple English podcast about daily routines. The speaker spoke slowly, and I repeated after him, "I wake up. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast." It might sound simple, but repeating these things helps a lot. Then I sat on the sofa with a notebook. I wrote a few things in English. Today is Saturday. I feel calm and relaxed. I ate eggs and toast. I want to learn 5 new English words today. Writing helps me remember. While I was writing, my cat jumped onto the sofa. He looked at me and purred. I smiled and said, "Good morning, kitty. Did you sleep well?" It was already 10:30 a.m. Time had passed slowly but beautifully. I hadn't done anything special yet, but my heart was happy. I have learned that slow mornings can be powerful. They give your mind space to breathe. Next weekend, I plan to do the same. Maybe I'll cook something different. Maybe I'll write more. But one thing is sure, my Saturday morning will still be lazy, peaceful, and full of small English moments. Part 2, Saturday afternoon, fun outside, learning inside. After my slow and peaceful morning, the afternoon brings a new kind of energy. Saturday afternoons are special because they are a perfect mix of rest and activity. I don't have to rush anywhere, but I also don't want to waste the day. I often use this time to go outside, enjoy nature, meet people, and practice English in real-life situations. This Saturday, the weather was perfect. The sun was shining, the sky was clear, and there was a light breeze in the air. I told myself, let's go for a walk today. I changed into comfortable clothes, grabbed my small backpack, and left the house around 12:30 p.m. I had packed my water bottle, a simple English storybook, and my notebook for new words. As I walked through the neighborhood, I greeted a few people in English. Good afternoon. Nice weather today, isn't it? Have a great day. It felt good. I used to feel shy speaking English, but I've been trying to get better. I remind myself, mistakes are okay. Every word you speak is practice. I've said this to myself many times. I walked to a small park nearby. It was quiet but not empty. A few families were having picnics. Some children were playing on the swings and laughing loudly. A man was jogging with headphones in. Everyone looked happy. I found a bench under a tree and sat down. I opened my English storybook and read a few pages. The story was simple, about a boy and his dog, but it had many useful words. I underlined new words and wrote them in my notebook. I also made small sentences with them. The boy runs with his dog every morning. Dogs are loyal and friendly animals. I have been doing this every weekend. It helps me build vocabulary in a fun way. I feel proud when I see my notebook getting fuller every week. After reading for a while, I closed my book and just watched people. I listened to their voices, their laughter, their movement. I imagined talking to them in English. What if someone sits next to me? Should I start a conversation? Sometimes I do. Last weekend, I met an old lady who spoke slowly and kindly. We talked about flowers and books. She told me I had a nice accent. That gave me more confidence. At around 2 p.m., I got a text from my cousin, "Want to grab coffee?" I replied, "Yes. See you in 15 minutes." We met at our favorite cafe. It's a small place with wooden tables and soft music. The staff is friendly, and they always speak English with me if I ask. I ordered an iced latte. My cousin had green tea. We sat by the window and talked about our week. I used simple English sentences. I had a busy week, but today is relaxing. I read a story in English at the park. I'm trying to learn 5 new words every Saturday. My cousin smiled and said, "That's a great idea. Maybe I'll do the same." We stayed there for an hour. We laughed, shared stories, and took a few photos. Before leaving, I said goodbye to the barista and said, "Your coffee is always the best." It was 4 p.m. when I reached home. I felt tired but happy. I had walked, read, spoken English, and spent time with family. I had learned something and enjoyed the world around me. I wrote in my journal, "This afternoon was beautiful." I used English in small ways. I talked to people. I learned new words. I felt brave. I believe that every small step makes me better. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going. Next Saturday afternoon, I might visit a museum or go to a bookstore. Wherever I go, I'll take my English with me. It's becoming a part of my weekend life. Part 3, Saturday evening, a peaceful night with English by my side. When evening comes, everything starts to slow down again. Saturday evenings feel soft and warm, like a gentle blanket after a long, happy day. I usually don't go out much in the evening. I like to stay home, cook something simple, and enjoy quiet time. It's my way of ending the day with peace, comfort, and a little more English. Around 6 p.m., I start thinking about dinner. I open the fridge and look at what I have. This evening, I found some vegetables, rice, and chicken. That's perfect. I decided to cook fried rice. As I cooked, I spoke to myself in English. First, chop the carrots and onions. Next, cook the chicken with a little oil. Now, mix everything with rice. I also listened to a YouTube video about English cooking words. The host explained simple verbs like chop, boil, fry, and mix. I paused the video sometimes to repeat the words. When the food was ready, I set the table nicely. I put a flower in a small glass. I turned on soft music and lit a candle. I like making dinner feel special, even when I eat alone. It helps me feel thankful. While eating, I watched a short English video about someone's evening routine. I listened carefully to how they spoke. I usually have dinner at 7 p.m. After dinner, I wash the dishes. I like to read before bed. I repeated some lines out loud, just for practice. After dinner, I cleaned the kitchen slowly. I didn't feel rushed. I thought about my day and felt happy. I had learned new words, talked with people, and used English in many small ways. By 8 p.m., I sat on the sofa with a blanket. My cat curled up next to me again. I opened my English notebook and reviewed the new words I had written earlier. Loyal, breeze, peaceful, routine, swing. I tried to make new sentences. My cat is loyal and always stays with me. The evening breeze feels nice. This peaceful time helps me relax. Then I wrote one more journal entry. Saturday evening is calm. I cooked dinner and learned new English words. I feel proud. Before bed, I read a few more pages from my English storybook. The story was getting interesting. I underlined words I didn't know and guessed their meanings. I've learned that I don't need to understand every word to enjoy a story. I just need to keep going. At 10 p.m., I turned off the light, closed my eyes, and smiled. I said to myself, today was a good day. I did my best. I will learn more tomorrow. And with that thought, I went to sleep, my heart full of peace and my mind full of English dreams. Part 4, Sunday morning, reset, reflect, and recharge. Sunday morning is a very special time for me. It feels calm and quiet, different from any other day. I usually wake up a little earlier than on Saturday, but I never use an alarm. Today, I woke up at 7:30 a.m. The room was still dark because the sun was just starting to rise. Outside, the sky looked like soft pink and orange colors. It was very beautiful. I stayed in bed for a few minutes, just listening to the quiet sounds of the morning. The birds were singing softly, and I could hear the wind moving the leaves outside the window. While I lay there, I thought about the whole week. I thought about what I had done and what I wanted to do. I asked myself, how was my week? Did I do my best? What can I improve next week? I felt thankful for many small things, like my family, my home, and the chance to learn English every day. I felt peaceful inside. After a few minutes, I got up slowly and walked to the window. I opened the curtain and saw the beautiful sunrise. The colors were getting brighter and the sky was turning light blue. It made me feel hopeful and ready for the day. Next, I went to the kitchen to make some warm tea with ginger and honey. I like this tea because it warms my body and helps me feel calm. While the water was boiling, I looked out the window again and watched the trees moving gently in the wind. The sunlight was shining through the leaves and making little shadows on the floor. I held the warm cup of tea with both hands and sat by the window. I didn't open my phone or turn on the TV. Instead, I just enjoyed the moment. I thought about my goals and how I could be a better person next week. After drinking my tea, I took out my notebook and a pen. Every Sunday morning, I like to write down my thoughts. I write simple sentences in English to practice. Today, I wrote 3 important questions to help me reflect. What did I do well last week? What can I do better next week? What am I thankful for today? I wrote my answers slowly, thinking about each one. For example, for the first question, I wrote, I studied 5 new English words every day. I also wrote, I spoke English at the cafe with my cousin. These small things made me proud. For the second question, I wrote, I want to listen more carefully when people talk and I need to read more slowly. For the last question, I wrote, I am thankful for my family, my warm home, and the quiet morning. Writing helps me organize my thoughts and feel calm. Then, at about 8:30 a.m., I did some gentle stretching and yoga. I found a beginner yoga video on YouTube. The teacher spoke very slowly and clearly in English. She said, take a deep breath in, now stretch your arms slowly, feel the calm in your body. I followed her movements and repeated some words out loud to practice my speaking. The yoga helped me feel relaxed and strong. I was happy that I could combine exercise with learning English. After yoga, I made breakfast. Today, I cooked oatmeal with fresh bananas and honey. While I cooked, I spoke the steps in English. First, boil the water. Now, add the oats. Stir slowly. Cut the banana and put it on top. Add a little honey for sweetness. Speaking like this every day helps me think in English naturally. It feels like I am teaching myself little lessons. I enjoy cooking and learning at the same time. When I finished eating, I washed the dishes carefully and took my notebook again. I reviewed the words I learned last week. I wrote new sentences with those words to remember them better. Then, I played an English meditation podcast. The speaker's voice was soft and calm. She said, today is a new day. You can choose to grow. You can choose to smile. You can choose to begin again. I closed my eyes and took deep breaths. I felt lighter and more peaceful inside. At about 10 a.m., I sat quietly, feeling thankful for this special morning. I wrote a little poem in my notebook. The morning sun is soft and warm, a gentle hug before the storm. I breathe, I smile, I start again, with hope and peace, I find my friend. I drew a small sun next to the poem and wrote the word hope in big letters. Hope is the feeling that Sunday morning gives me every week. It tells me that no matter what happened before, I have a new chance to grow and be better. It reminds me to be kind to myself and to keep trying my best. I didn't do anything big or noisy on Sunday morning. I didn't go out or meet many people. Instead, I spent time with my thoughts and feelings. I spoke English softly to myself. I listened to the quiet world around me. I gave myself time to rest and recharge. By the time the clock showed 11 a.m., I felt different. I felt calm, focused, and thankful. I was ready to enjoy the rest of the day and the new week ahead. I smiled and said quietly, "Thank you, Sunday morning. You helped me start fresh." Part 5, Sunday afternoon, getting ready for a new week. Sunday afternoon is an important time for me. It is the moment when I prepare my mind and body for the new week ahead. After a calm and peaceful morning, I like to use the afternoon to organize, plan, and get ready. It helps me feel confident and less stressed when Monday comes. Today, I started my Sunday afternoon at 12 p.m. After cleaning up the breakfast dishes and putting my notebook away, I took a short walk outside. The sun was warm but not too hot. The sky was bright blue with a few white clouds. I walked slowly around my neighborhood, enjoying the fresh air. I said hello to some neighbors and smiled. I practiced simple English greetings. Hello. How are you today? It is a nice day, isn't it? I hope you have a good week. Talking to neighbors makes me feel connected to my community. I also listen to their answers carefully. Sometimes, I ask them questions like, "What do you like to do on Sundays?" Or, "Do you have any advice for learning English?" This small conversation practice helps me improve my English speaking and listening skills. When I returned home, it was about 12:45 p.m. I sat down at my desk with my planner and pens. I like to write plans because it helps me remember and stay organized. I started by checking my calendar for the upcoming week. I looked at my work schedule, appointments, and any special events. Then, I wrote down important tasks I need to do. For example, finish the project report by Wednesday. Practice English speaking for 30 minutes every day. Call my family on Friday evening. Buy groceries on Saturday morning. Writing these things down made me feel more in control. I also wrote a list of small goals, like drinking more water, walking every day, and reading one English article each morning. I believe small habits help build a better life. After making my list, I took out my English notebook. I reviewed my notes from last week and the new vocabulary I learned. I practiced making sentences with these words. Sometimes, I say the sentences out loud. I will finish my work early. I want to improve my pronunciation. Next week, I will read a new book. Repeating these sentences makes me more confident in speaking English. I also listen to an English podcast while I plan. Today's podcast talked about time management and staying motivated. The speaker said, planning your week helps reduce stress. It gives you a clear path. I nodded and wrote down some tips from the podcast. At around 2 p.m., I took a short break. I made a cup of green tea and ate some fruit. While resting, I thought about what I enjoyed most last week and what was difficult. I told myself, it is okay to have challenges. Every problem is a chance to learn. This positive thinking helps me stay motivated. After my break, I cleaned my room and organized my study space. A clean space helps me focus better. I put my books on the shelf neatly and threw away some old papers. I also prepared my English materials for the week, textbooks, notebooks, and flashcards. I like to keep everything ready so I can start learning without delay. At 3:30 p.m., I practiced writing a short email in English to a friend. Writing emails is important for communication. I wrote about my weekend and asked about their plans for the week. I checked my grammar carefully and used simple words. I know practice makes perfect. Later, I exercised for 20 minutes. I did light stretching and walked around my house. Moving my body helps me stay healthy and relax my mind. While exercising, I counted my steps in English and said simple phrases like 1, 2, 3. I am strong. I feel good. It made exercising more fun and helped my English too. At 4:30 p.m., I started cooking dinner. Cooking is another way I practice English. I speak the steps as I go. Today, I made vegetable soup with rice. I said things like, cut the carrots, boil the water, add salt and pepper, stir the soup slowly. While waiting for the soup to cook, I listened to soft music and relaxed. I thought about the new week and reminded myself to stay calm and positive. I believe a good attitude is very important. Before dinner, I wrote in my journal again. I reflected on the day and the week. I wrote, I planned my week carefully. I practiced English every day. I am ready to work hard and have fun. I am proud of my progress. Writing helps me see how far I have come and what I want to do next. By 6 p.m., I finished dinner and cleaned up the kitchen. I felt tired but happy. I had used my Sunday afternoon well. I had planned, learned, exercised, and prepared for a great week. Before going to bed later, I will read a little more English and listen to a meditation podcast to relax. I know that good preparation and rest are keys to success. Sunday afternoon might seem quiet and simple, but for me, it is powerful. It helps me feel ready to face any challenge. It reminds me that every week is a new chance to grow and improve. Next Sunday afternoon, I hope to try new English activities, maybe join a speaking club or watch an English movie with subtitles. I want to keep learning and enjoying the process. Sunday afternoons teach me to slow down, think clearly, and get ready to shine. To finish, my weekend life is simple but full of good feelings. I enjoy quiet mornings, fun afternoons, and spending time with family in the evenings. These times help me feel happy and calm. I also use English a lot, which makes me more confident. Weekends are not only for rest but also for learning and growing. I hope you find joy in your weekends too and enjoy every small moment. The story is over. Please support us by subscribing and liking to follow our channel. Your support means a lot to us. I hope you learned something new today. See you next time. Thanks for watching.